Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I hope you had a wonderful and restful weekend, stayed safe in this crazy weather that is happening, and are ready to tackle yet another week. So by now, we probably all have heard at least some bits and pieces of this new rule that's set to take effect on March 11th of this year that is going to affect independent contractors within the trucking industry. But the reality is, there are some bigger implications for the industry as a whole, and this could be the catalyst big enough to start shedding capacity at higher levels. So let's chat about it. Ready? Let's go. Now, according to Cloud Trucks, and I do apologize, this data is as of 2022, but I quote, as of 2022, there were 3.5 million truckers in the US, 1.7 million of which were owner-operators, and the source is American Trucking Associations. They also say that 45% of owner-operators are leased to a motor carrier, compared to 44% who drive under their own authority. So that comes out to about 765,000 owner-operators who are actually leased to a motor carrier and are operating under their numbers. And that is about 21.86%. It's not a small number. Now, about 6 days ago, we all have heard that there is a new rule that's coming out, and well, it's pretty interesting. Before all of this, carriers were operating under the prior independent contractor definition, which considered two parts. Number one, nature and degree of control over work, and number two, opportunity for profit and loss based on initiative or investment. Now, with this new rule, there are 6 factors to consider when determining whether a person is an employee or an independent contractor. Number one, opportunity for profit and loss depending on managerial skill. Number two, investments by the worker and the potential employer. Number three, the degree of permanence of the work relationship. Number four, the nature and degree of control. Number five, the extent to which the work performed is an integral part of the potential employer's business. And number six, skill and initiative. So out of these 6 points, there are actually 2 that we need to consider. First of all, according to Trucking Info, if a driver chooses to lease a truck from the employer, which would usually mean that they're an independent contractor, according to this new rule, they can still be considered an employee of the company unless they're able to consider independent financing options, they're able to meaningfully negotiate the terms of the lease with the employer, they're not required by the employer to work for it for a minimum period of time, and not prohibited by the employer from using the leased truck to work for others. The second part that is interesting to consider is the extent to which the work performed is an integral part of the potential employer's business. Now, this sounds very much like the AB5 law and the ABC test that was put into place in California, where if the B prong, if the person is performing a job that is integral to the employer's business, they're automatically considered an employee. Now, of course, the Department of Labor argues that this is not what they're trying to do. They're not trying to implement the ABC test, and this is just one of the factors that would be considered when making a determination whether the person is an independent contractor or an employee, but it does have a lot of people scared. Now, as I already said, this new rule is set to take effect on March 11th of this year, and as you can imagine, there were a ton of mixed feelings about it. The American Trucking Associations has called this new rule un-American, stating that, and I quote, "It extinguishes the freedom of individuals to choose work arrangements that suit their needs and fulfill their ambitions." So how can this new rule influence the trucking industry in the near future? Well, considering the fact that big carriers like Landstar or J.B. Hunt, for example, they are known for hiring independent contractors, the effects could be very interesting. I know when the AB5 law came into effect in California, big carriers sent out an email to their owner-operators, their independent contractors, saying that if you wish to still work with the company, you have to move out of the state. And a lot of independent contractors chose to leave the state to get away from that AB5 law. Now, with this current law that's coming into effect on March 11th, there is nowhere to run to because this is on a federal level, meaning that it applies nationwide. Now think about it for a moment. An owner-operator who is leased onto a carrier and operates under that carrier's MC, but has their own truck, has their own trailer, takes care of their own expenses, all of that, they enjoy lower insurance premiums because that MC is usually aged. And also they have the ability to transport under an established MC, which is super important, especially in this climate where brokers are not really willing to give loads to newer guys. If they are forced to get their own authority to be considered a business owner, then number one, insurance costs go up. They went up everywhere right now. Number two, they have a new MC number, which means that it's going to be more challenging for them to find loads considering the current environment where shippers and brokers are trying to stay away from the newer guys. So the other possibility, become an employee, but there are two main issues with that. Number one, owner-operators, true owner-operators, they are business owners. They enjoy the freedom and the ability to make decisions that comes with being a business owner. Asking these folks to give up that freedom to make decisions and to run their business the way they see fit is definitely less than ideal. Number two, and this is something you guys are all probably familiar with, a lot of carriers, they do not want to hire employees. They rely on that 1099 model, whether it's in a shady way or in a perfectly normal and sound way. And this is because of the tax implications. Now, of course, there is an argument to be made about the fact that this law is going to prevent those shady carriers from misclassifying employees as independent contractors to save money. But let's look at the bigger implication here that includes people who are not doing anything shady, especially those owner-operators. Owner-operators don't want to be employees because, again, they enjoy the freedom that comes with running their own business. And the implications of having their own authority makes it very difficult for them to continue to operate because higher insurance costs, challenges with getting loads. Now, on the flip side, we have carriers, shady or not, they are faced with having to pay more taxes. They're faced with having to pay workman's comp insurance as they're forced to reclassify drivers as employees. So just taking those two factors into account, what could be the result? Well, the result could be a shed in capacity, or at least that's what it's starting to look like. I think that both on the contract side and on the spot market side, there is going to be a decrease in the number of available positions, especially considering the fact that now a lease purchase driver is not automatically an independent contractor, and the fact that whether a position is integral to operations is being considered when trying to make that determination. I don't know, guys, what do you think? I think on one hand, this is a good thing because it diminishes the possibility of shadiness happening in this industry where carriers misclassify employees, true employees, as independent contractors to save some money. But on the other hand, it also has the capacity to threaten the true owner-operator model. So I'm really curious to hear what you guys think about this rule and what you think the implications are. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Wishing you all a fantastic week ahead, and I'll see you in the next video.